Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today and Mel Rose. Over there, you'll find a description of the day's astrology as I have spelled it out here. Here, I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another card that, in the context of the day's astrology, may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page and just through tomorrow, friends, is the Seven of Cups. And it is here because it relates in astrology to the last 10 days of the sun's transit in the land of Scorpio. Okay, so today, sun is in transit in the land of Scorpio for like the first 2 hours of the day, if you're like me on Central Standard Time. So very early today, sun makes ingress to Sagittarius, but we're still on the Seven of Cups vibe, and we'll switch to the Eight of Wands tomorrow when we have the first full day in Sagittarius. So Scorpio is a water sign, and Cups in Tarot are water element symbolism. And water element symbolism has to do with our feelings, our emotions, and how we respond to them. What kind of information arises with them? What kind of certain knowing or questions do we have? What kind of bodily sensations do we have? Emotions feel like something, right? And so we come to the Seven of Cups, and this is a mode of sort of being in a creative space where we are thinking about how it would feel to have certain like amazingly good things happen to us in our life, right? So it's a little bit of fantastic thinking, a little bit of dreaming. That's all covered under the water element symbolism. Our creative capacities, both physical and sort of from the intuition and the emotional space, are all water element symbolism. And so here we are sort of engaging in some wishful thinking, and that's not always a bad thing. You want to be on guard against wishful thinking, in terms of also being real, right, about what is actually going on in your life. We don't want to be engaging in wishful thinking as a point of denial about what's going on for us. But, we've been really encouraged lately and for many, many weeks to be thinking about what it is that we idealize as something that we would like to have in terms of expansion in our own lives. And expansion looks different for different people. We want to build a bigger, better house. We want to have a family. We want to, be rich and famous. We want to, get that job, that promotion, that raise. We want to work for that certain sort of company or entity or person. We want to make a grand achievement and have an adventure, complete an invention, or we want to get a higher education, or maybe we want to get closer to ourselves or someone else. Perhaps we want to feel that connection to spirit. So all sorts of bigger, better things, more expanded versions of ourselves that we could imagine. It really goes beyond, just sort of the basic impulse for, money and power, right? But listen, the point is that it's a good time to be imagining and thinking about how it is that we would like to expand our lives. We want to, what kind of higher education we're looking for, what kind of bigger experiences are we looking for in the world, and being really specific with ourselves, when we think about, okay, if I had things exactly the way I wanted them, if I already had $4 billion in the bank, what would I be doing with myself? What kind of dreams would I cause to come true for myself? Okay. And a good place to be in at this time, because our personal life has been in this very easy, sort of blessed functioning where our personal life is definitely supposed to be dreaming about these bigger, better experiences we seek, okay? The Neptune is the dream, and it's also intuitive clarity because it's retrograde in Pisces right now. And the Jupiter is the thinking about what you want in terms of bigger, better experiences. And, Jupiter is retrograde right now as well. So it's definitely the internal work of considering what it is that you want, not necessarily external work of pursuing it. And, Jupiter in Pisces right now, especially retrograde, says that, by compassion for ourselves, can we find that expanded version of our lives we're looking for. Here's the Fool, friends. Okay, so this is a fresh start. It's a new beginning. It's the Fool is a complete zero on the path that they are on. They have not even ranked a number yet. So, with the Fool comes this, reminder that we all have to start over from time to time, right? We finish up one chapter of our lives, and so we begin a new chapter, and we can, we have the experience we have under our belts, but we're leaving that chapter behind us for a reason, because there are bigger, better things that we dream of having and being and doing, okay? So, we kind of set blithely off on this path, and we may or may not know very much about the path we're setting off on. We're just sort of having faith that we are in good hands, in the universe's good hands, and that the universe is sort of conspiring to bless us with an excellent experience that will get us to and through the next chapter. And, with this, I also always see, some warnings, okay? If you are setting off on a new path, be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of the dangers that could occur, because, as you have these new experiences, you're going to encounter some difficulties. You don't want them to just sort of, jump out at you. You want to hear them and see them coming. So, you see this person has their earbuds in and they're sort of looking up and walking toward the edge of the cliff, right? So, have your senses about you, especially when you're, engaged in the work of your new path, okay? Just be really mindful of your surroundings. And then there's this little dog here that's sort of our intuitive self that says, hey, watch out, be careful, you're about to walk off a cliff. Try not to walk off a cliff on purpose, okay? Or try not to be so foolish as to assume that the path ahead of you is all just green grass when, if you're not going to pay attention to the path, you might, wind up walking off that cliff, right? But in all, this favors a new start. It's a good time to be making a fresh start. I said something in the other episode about this perhaps feeling today like a bit of a false start, because Sun goes into Sagittarius very early this morning, but it's not the first full day in Sagittarius. And then the moon is still in Scorpio. The moon will enter Sagittarius before it culminates the new moon tomorrow. So that's when the full start, the sort of full speed ahead feeling is going to strike us. We're going to be at this sort of 0 point with the new moon. We're going to stop that mode of decrease and letting go and pushing things out that we have been in. We're going to stop and consider and appreciate as deeply as we can the moment that we are in. And, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, moon and sun in Sagittarius. This is a very positive moment of hope and inspiration. When we come to the present moment, we will likely be feeling very hopeful about the future and very interested in getting into it. So once we stop and appreciate the moment, we shift gears back into that mode of increase. We start setting intentions, creating goals for the next full moon and for new moons to come, for the next full moon and for full moons to come after that. Right, so it's all about the lunation right now. It's really, you see, it almost looks like the 0 to me looks like the new moon and then the sun, right? And we've got Sagittarius here just sort of like up and out, up and away. That Scorpio vibe that we've been under has been very reflective, somewhat sort of emotional, asking us to do sort of this deep internal work to let go of some stuff that really needed our attention, on a personal level. And now in Sagittarius, our gaze turns outward. We become more social. We become more interested in growth and learning, not just our own, but that of others. Jupiter is a vibe for sharing, and it's just a vibe for like feeling generous and sharing growth. So that's where we're going tomorrow, friends. And for today, You know, it's okay if you're done with the release and the letting go. It's okay to just sort of sit in the moment, you know, to not really worry very much about the future right now, okay? Because you are at this sort of, you know, 0 point with the Fool, and you can make your fresh start tomorrow after the moon enters Sagittarius. Now today, before I want to say a moment on sort of spell work and ritual and prayers. You know, at this point, the day before the new moon, while we're still waning in Scorpio, this is a good time to be saying your prayers for release, you know, doing your rituals for release, letting things go, okay? And then when you get on the other side of the new moon, give it some hours before you get on the other side of the new moon. Then you can start to do your prayers and rituals for increase, you know, to tell the universe what you're trying to create. Right now, we're still trying to tell the universe what we're trying to decrease and let go of, okay? So it's okay to be just saying, yep, I'm putting all of this behind me. And then, you know, really, what do I want to say? Spell it out. Really spell it out, what it is that you are releasing and letting go, what you're absolutely putting behind you, and what you will no longer have anything to do with, okay? And put together with the Seven of Cups, I mean, I can see, you see how the hands are spread here and the hands are kind of spread here too. I can see how the Fool can sort of be looking off into the distance, and what they're seeing is what they imagine to be that sort of pie in the sky, ultimate ideal set of circumstances for themselves, you know, like, oh, hey, I'm going to run down this path and make a whole bunch of money and buy a nice house. Or, oh, I'm going to run down this path and, you know, get a really great education and be able to get that job I want, etc., etc. And, you know, that's great. And I think that it's appropriate, especially at this point when we are finally, you know, sort of releasing the rest of the release, letting go of the rest of the stuff we have to let go of, you know, to have some idea in our mind, imagine what, you know, what can come in now that we have let go, because releasing and letting go is about making room for better stuff to come in, okay? So it's a good idea to have in mind what, you know, what might look like better stuff for us as we're letting go of the stuff that's no longer working for us. And, you know, so have those fantasies, think about that pie in the sky, think about the power or the influence or the connection that you would like to have. And, you know, hold it in your heart. You know, feel good about it. It may help to feel good about what it is that we're letting go of, okay? Because letting go, again, has not just been about letting go, but about making room for these other better things to come in. And, you know, remember that when you have a dream and you pursue it, you find out along the way that yes, you can have the dream, but also there's going to be responsibilities with the, you know, with the added freedom that you are seeking. You're going to have a little more responsibility to show up, or with the, you know, with the added sort of wealth or fame that you are seeking. There's going to be a sort of burden to balance that. Okay, there's always going to be something that you have to do to work for it. And I believe that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, I didn't say anything about the Fool on the page, but it's really about the moon. I really think it's about the moon and this sort of move forward that we're making today and tomorrow, sun and moon into Sagittarius. So we come out of that Scorpio vibe and into the Sagittarius vibe. And I did talk about that. Okay, so that is all I have to say about it today. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate your presence. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.